Hello everybody, this is Cyrus here, and tonight I just want to talk a little bit about the concept of conflict and dealing with negative situations, because I like to talk about the bigger perspective of spiritual growth, spiritual evolution. I think there is no greater test of that kind of growth that we talk about than dealing with sometimes intense, hostile conflicts with people and in situations. But before we get started, if you like this kind of thing, a subscribe is always appreciated because I'm trying to grow this channel. Okay, so this has been on my mind a lot because I've been dealing with a lot of issues lately that are of a hostile, conflict-oriented nature. A few videos back I told you about how I'm fighting after being a victim of a $4,600 scam on eBay. I've also been dealing with a lot of negative energy, people who are haters of my work, and I've been dealing with conflict scenarios outside of all the internet and work, out in real life with people, and even sometimes my day job we have weird encounters with people who don't like what we're doing because we do active stuff for the community, and still some people get very hostile against us for silly reasons because they feel like we're giving a certain group better treatment than a different group, right? And one area that, well, rather, let me back up. This is an area of my life that I've had to really work on, because when I was a lot younger, I would shy away from conflict and hostility, and it would really affect me. So if I had to basically fight somebody, I wouldn't be able to fight them because I would just buckle and become, I don't know, I would shy away. I wouldn't be able to handle those emotions. And I don't mean literally fist fighting. If anything, I probably handle those situations a bit better. I'm talking about a situation where you have to, for instance, fight a corrupt boss, deal with somebody who's ripping you off, deal with an altercation, even when you're in the right. It's that energetic battle that is the most difficult to deal with, because that's really what we're dealing with here, is a battle of mind, a battle of energy. And if you have a little bit of an empathic quality, it's more difficult because somebody who is, as an example, a sociopath has switched off that empathic ability. And if they don't have that, they can dish out all of that kind of negative power, and they can use that to destroy people who are empathic. And they know this, and they use that to take advantage of people. And it's a dangerous thing. In the kind of spiritual warfare, it is the sociopath who preys on the empath. And that's kind of my big point for this video. And even if you're a little bit empathic, which most of us are, you can feel that if you are dealing with somebody who doesn't have that ability and they're using that to their advantage. Somebody who is sociopathic, and it might be you. About maybe 10% of us are sociopathic. So if you go to a room with 10 people, one of them probably isn't feeling empathy like anybody else is. One way to tell you are a sociopath, and by the way, I'm not a psychologist, so don't misinterpret this video and take my advice or anything like that. One way to tell that you are a sociopath is if you don't actually feel what people refer to as shame, so you may not even know what that concept is. So if you do something that is embarrassing, but again, you might not know that concept. If you do something that would make other people think negatively of you, but you don't have an emotional response to that, you might be living a fairly stress-free life because of that, and you might not realize this, but for most people, if you do something wrong, then it's going to really hurt the person who did that wrong thing. So somebody who is more sociopathic, they can do just about anything, and they're going to sleep like a baby that night. Doesn't mean they're going to go off and commit crimes and hurt people, but if during the day maybe they they were a jerk on the road. They cut somebody off, held up a bunch of lines of traffic, and maybe they were a bit mean to somebody. They didn't, that person didn't deserve it. Maybe at work, they come in and yell at some subordinate, and then that subordinate, feels horrible, and they know the subordinate feels horrible. Somebody who is more empathic is going to go to sleep that night and feel like, man, I shouldn't have picked on Brian in HR, because Brian didn't deserve me giving him a piece of my mind, because it wasn't really Brian's fault. And they're going to toss and turn and think, man, tomorrow I need to go to work and let Brian know that he doesn't have to fear coming to work, because I'm not going to do that again, and I was in the wrong. A sociopath might think, I wonder if other people will think negatively of me due to my actions against the subordinate Brian. Perhaps I have to pretend to apologize. That's about as far as a sociopath might get. So that is a bit of evidence that you might be a sociopath. And if you think you might be, it is something that you can work on. Just admitting that you might have these tendencies means that you can build your empathic abilities, and you'll be better for it. But if you are being preyed on by a sociopath and you are a bit empathic, again, this is why that conflict, that battle, can really wreak havoc upon you. Because the sociopath isn't, they're immune to the hostility, the negative energy, but meanwhile, you are the one who's being attacked by all of it. And so this is why we must learn the ability, and this is part of self-growth and self-development and spirituality, to go through life with a sword and a shield. And if you're a bit empathic, can you approach a situation from a higher vantage point, a more higher consciousness state, so that even if you're dealing with somebody who maybe is out to destroy you or hurt you, you can look at it from a vantage point of this soul is misguided, whether they feel responsible for their actions or not. I have to make a war against this person, but it's a righteous war, and I hope that in the end somehow they will have grown and become a better person as a result. Nonetheless, maybe I have to unleash complete fury against this person and take this person down in a course of self-defense. But in doing so, I wish the best for this person. If you can come at it from that higher vantage point, then you won't necessarily be so badly affected by the hostility and the negative energy that's coming at you. And if you get really good at this, then you can become the metaphorical paladin, the holy warrior, who can go into the bowels of hell and come out on the other side unscathed. And really in life, we all have to become like that if we intend to keep our sanity, keep our marbles. Because none of us can be pacifists. Because in this arena known as the earth, we all have to deal battle with the darker forces. Sometimes those darker forces are within ourselves, but a lot of times it's outside forces coming after us. Those are some thoughts tonight about how the empath is the prey of the sociopath and what you can do about it. If you like these videos, if you like talking about supernatural stuff, then again, please hit subscribe. You can also click the Show More button on the YouTube description and see some links to books like Understanding Life After Death, The Afterlife and Beyond, and the Facebook group, my classes, stuff like that. You can check out if you're curious about it. And stay safe and good luck out there, and happy holidays.